start the meeting or live in a couple seconds. I'll let you know when you're ready to go.
Good, David.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Hope everyone's doing well today. Awesome to see you all. Pam, that was such a great live you did earlier.
And
Thank you
you're
for
live,
doing.
sir.
All right.
LOL,
Welcome,
I could
everyone.
not say cruciferous to save my life. It comes out so easy, but not on a live.
It happens to the best of us, trust me. Welcome, everyone. Well, we have a great group here with us here. And again, we're going to be getting started. If you have anyone that you're seeing that's not with us live, that you know they're available, please send a quick reminder, invite them to jump on. And if not, this is being recorded. So if you're watching the recording, please drop replay in the chat wherever you're watching this, or in the comments so that we can go back and thank you for being on here today. And I'm honored. I'm actually honored to be with all of you. Um, I'm stepping in here. Normally, this is Mr. James Zhang, who handles Tuesday evening. I rarely get a chance to be on the call to train because I normally am in Africa at this time, right? And right now, I think it's something like 3 a.m. over there. So even if I'm on, I'm usually not in the right frame of mind to train, right? But today I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We have an incredible event happening this weekend. So first and foremost, if you know anybody in Alberta, Canada, which is the province of Canada that the event's in. Most people in Alberta are driving distance to this event. I highly recommend to take advantage of this event by reaching out, touching base, connecting them with either myself, James Zhang, who's also coming in. He'll be landing tomorrow, no, tonight, late tonight, and we'll be meeting with people tomorrow. We'll be meeting with people on Thursday. So if you know anyone, get them in front of us. We'll be happy to chat with them and explain what is going on with them. So I'm going to dive into something here real quick. And if you don't mind, I just realized that my computer is about to die. So please, I'm sorry for doing this. Give me 1 second. Maybe somebody can take over with any type of quick um, insights for the day, or I don't know. Does anyone want to share anything before I get my charger? I don't want there to be dead air. Who can share something just of
Hey
encouragement?
Pam, maybe you can share with us what you were talking about in your live and cruciferous.
Oh,
That'll be great.
cruciferous.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
share with us what your live was on.
Yes. So my live was on what happens if you reach a plateau, taking the drops, and a plateau is defined as greater than 6 days of not your weight not changing. So by that time, you should have many small wins. Maybe you've lost weight and then you just came to a standstill, and you've done all the other things that Laura Sales talked about yesterday, like checking your calories, not calories, checking your protein, that you're eating the right amount, and also making sure that you've had enough water, and that you have truly eliminated all the hidden preservatives and sugars from your food. So you've done all that. You follow what Laura said, and now you I gave 3 different options. So check out the live in the partner co. I think Dana's back, so that you can hear what are the 3 options when you reach a plateau and you've done everything else, to just give you that boost to push to do a reset. Thanks for
Awesome,
asking, Jody.
awesome.
All right, you're right. That's it, Dana. You're
And it was great. It
Thank
was
you.
why it's so important is because from time to time we do find people, whether it's customers or even partners, right, that hit that plateau. I've experienced with people, some customers of mine, they're like, oh well, I was losing weight and then just stopped. So it's so awesome that we have experts, many of them within the company and within the team, like Pam, who can share those insights, and it really helps tremendously. So again, thank you so much. for sharing that with us, Pam. So we're gonna dive into millionaire mentorship. And no, there's gonna be no monkey business here. Who likes this flyer here? Mr. James Zhang, I guess he loved that picture and he decided to use that flyer, right? Yeah, but we're going to be talking about some serious stuff here today. So that's what this is all about. So we're going to talk a little bit about something that I'm excited about, extremely excited about, because um, we are launching, starting next week, a millionaire mentorship. You can consider it a program, a mastermind, but it's truly in the name. It's mentorship. And I believe it's mentorship at its finest because um, we are going to do something a little bit different, right, than maybe has been done in the past. We're going to really merge in um, things that have really benefited um, us, every single one of us. In fact, having conversations with Mr. James Dang and with Becky, we realized that we actually have a lot of similarities in the way that we came up in this industry, right? And we really were pinpointing and thinking about where were the breakthrough moments in our businesses. And that conversation led to this idea. That was the birth of this idea. And so I'm going to share with you here today, just real quick, a little bit about why, right? Why this is so important. And really, what does mentorship mean? To me, what does mentorship mean to me? Because sometimes when we think of mentorship, we think of, I like to call it like apprenticeship, right? You have somebody that you sit down with, they're the master, you're the apprentice, and you're just learning everything from them. And that would be the ideal situation, right? And really in this industry that's possible to an extent, right? Because we have a sponsor that works with us. But when I think back at the mentorships that really made the biggest difference in my career, um, it wasn't that the person was sitting next to me day in and day out all the time because they couldn't do that. They had large teams of people that they were working with. But I was able to get into small communities where I was getting direct coaching from these individuals. And that made the biggest difference in my career. Because to me, what it did was, and this is what mentorship really means to me, it number one is new thinking, right? Um, Sometimes we have what we have based on what we know up to this moment. And the challenge is we don't know what we don't know, right? Sometimes we're like, well, I've been trying everything. I've been following what I've been taught, and I need to, I'm stuck. I need to get to that next level, or I want to get to the next level. And sometimes it's simply having a new idea, a new tip, a new strategy, um, and a new way of looking at things, a new way of thinking. I'm going to talk about how I remember when my first time that I was part of a mentorship group. By the time I was finished with that program, my thinking was completely different than when I started. And so this is one of the first things that we are looking for is helping people get to that new thinking that's going to create a breakthrough in their business. Number two, mentorship to me also means accountability. Um, and why is this important? Because, let's just be realistic. Let's just be honest. Most of the time, I mean, I am a kind of a laid back kind of person. Most of the time, I'm not going to push myself as hard as I possibly can go if it's left up to me, right? Isn't it true that we're going to be kind of kind with ourselves? That's just human nature, right? And so accountability, right? If you think about it in anything that you are trying to achieve a goal, whether it's a health goal, whether it's, if you are looking to transform your body, what do you typically do? You typically will get a coach, right? You'll get a health professional that will help you. And not only will help you and guide you, but will hold you accountable, right? When I go to the gym and I have a coach there telling me how many sets I have to do, how many reps I got to do, I usually will do more, right? He pushes me to do more than if I'm going by myself, right? And that is kind of the same concept when it comes to accountability in this situation. Let's use another scenario. The body balancing challenge is happening right now, right? Why is it? Have anyone noticed that typically people get better results during a challenge than when they just take things on their own and just do it kind of like on their own, right? Have you noticed that? That when a challenge is happening, at the end of that challenge, you'll see all these amazing results. Part of that is because during that time, don't we, of course, maybe follow the plan a little bit closer and do things a little bit by the book when we feel a little bit accountable, when we have a community of people that we're that are cheering us on and they're doing it and we're doing it. And because we're seeing them doing it and they're successful, it encourages us, makes us want to do it as well, right? All of this falls under accountability. So please, if you're with me, drop the word accountable, right? Accountable in the chats, because this is a big part of, um, to me, right? What I needed to break through to the next level of my business. And of course, mentorship is also guidance and course correction, right? Because sometimes you're going in the right direction, but sometimes there's just a small tweak that needs to happen. A tweak in maybe how you are approaching, how you're following up, how you're uh, getting leads, right? And oftentimes, from our perspective, we don't see where we have to make those small little changes. But a mentor and a coach can see that and they can help us make those small course corrections. So that's what mentorship really means for me. And to share with you really why I'm so passionate about this is because, again, some of you've heard my story, but if you knew me when I got involved in this industry, um, I will tell you, you probably, if you really knew me, you would be excited about your chances to have success in this opportunity, especially with PartnerCo, because I was not the person that you would think would normally have success in this industry. Shy, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was a blue collar worker, as you can see. I was a machinist, right? Worked in basically a factory. Got greasy, got dirty. Um, no college degree. Lived in a farm town, right? So our neighbors were like, there was like farms and fields and everything between all our neighbors, right? So I was not someone that would naturally probably be someone that you would look at and say, oh, this guy's going to be successful in this industry. And when I started in the industry, um, I made money right away. But then I got to a point where I was trying to figure out how to get it to the next level. I was trying to like get it off the ground, right? I made a check and I was like, okay, well, it works. But then it was like, I how do I get my team to continue to build? How do I continue to get customers to order every single month? Anyone relate to those ideas and those thoughts? What do I need to do? And thinking back, it was at my very first opportunity to be part of a mentorship program, a coaching program. I remember this because it was, when I think back, it was a pivotal moment in my career. And I remember this particular mentorship was, a group that had to qualify and to join. And if they were part of this group, every day we got on a call, and we got on a call every single day. And I remember getting on those calls. And like I said, it helped me change my thinking, because before I got into this mentorship, I was treating my business like a hobby. I was really just kind of like doing it, you know, when I could. I wanted the success, but I wasn't giving it, I think, the true respect of a business. Whereas once I got involved in this mentorship and every day looking at it from the eyes of those who were treating it like a true business, what eventually happened? I started treating it and looking at it like a true business. And so I started noticing my mindset change. My actions started changing. You realize that sometimes when you start doing something, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if you don't really want to do it, but you're doing it day in and day out because you're part of a program, you're part of a mentorship, you're accountable to other people, eventually it just becomes part of your routine, right? We tend to build habits when we do things day after day after day, right around 21 to 30 days. Before you know it, it's something that you start naturally doing. It's a habit. And our success in business can be directly proportional, or it can be, you can look back and it can coordinate back to what you are doing every single day, the habits of your business. So that first accountability, that first mentorship with one of my original mentors took me from being a blue collar worker, struggling to get the business off the ground, to in that company again. So I'm showing you guys a little bit of my history. And that company took me to being full time in that company. Now, I mind you, that company, I'm not saying names, but I mean it's in the picture. That company was very, very hard to go full time. Very hard. I mean, when I compare what I had to do and what business was like in network marketing at that time versus what we do today with the internet, with how generous Partner Co is, the comp plan, and how genius it is, and everything is in place. Like what we have today is a cakewalk compared to what it was back then. But I was able to get to that point where I didn't have a job, right? I was full time in the industry. And when I think about what led to that, without a shadow of a doubt, it was due. It directly is points back to that mentorship. Directly points back to the habits that I created, the mindset that I created that was initiated at that very first mentorship community and program that I was involved in. So that was my first breakthrough, right? Getting to a point where I was full time. And let me ask you, if you're someone that would love to be full time, meaning, and when I say full time, meaning that you don't have to work a job, right? And I never tell people to leave a job if you love it. If you love what you do, keep doing it, right? There, but wouldn't it be cool to say, I do my job because I love it, not because I need to do it, right? And if that's something that you would love to get to, drop the word full time in the chats, because that was my first breakthrough that came through a mentorship. But then, right, different company, that company being full time was a grind. Being full time over there was like, you know, every day, right? I was in my car, I was driving, I was going all around. And I felt like I was the only leader that was actually working. If you can relate to that feeling, feel like you're the only person in your team that's really doing much, right? Then you're gonna love this, because I realized I had to get to another level in my business. I had to have duplication. I had to find other leaders. I had to have other leaders be able to do the system. And I didn't know how to do that. I needed another breakthrough. Well, around this time, my wife and I, who knows the lovely better three quarters, Amelia Oniyama Harper, right? She's in Africa right now, holding down the fort. And we got married. We joined forces. I had already been in the industry for some time. I was already full time in the industry. She had some experience in the industry. We came together and we started working together, right? And again, it was better than working a job, in my opinion, right? Working for myself was better than working a job, but with that company, it was a grind. It was a grind every single day. And so we ended up through just chance, right? Having another mentor that um, started coaching us. And the same scenario came up. The scenario came up that he wanted to take the team to another level. Now, this ended up in another company. I've only been in 3 companies in 24 years, right? So, first company I showed you, right, got to full time. Second company, um, This particular mentor said, we're going to take this team to a level that's never been seen before. But to do it, we're going to hold everyone to a higher level, a higher standard. And if you're not scared of that, the promise is that you will make more money than you've ever made before. You will have a better lifestyle that you've ever can possibly dream of. And I will not quit on you. I will continue to do what I need to do with you until you reach that goal. Are you in or are you out? That was the conversation. And I was a little scared because, now I feel like, man, I'm being held to a higher standard, right? I don't want to let this person down. But I also knew that we wanted our business to go to that next level. So we agreed to be part of this mentorship, this accountability. And that was the same thing. It was something that we joined, I think it was every single day. And when I say it was a higher level, it was a higher level. Um, this mentorship that we're going to be rolling out is going to be a little bit of a higher level, a higher standard that maybe you've participated in the past. But this is because we know that each and every one of you that wants to participate in this, that qualifies to participate, you can have your business go to that next level. And so what was amazing about that was I had been in the business for 3 months, in this new company, 3 months up to this point, and we had great success, right? We had great success. We had a leadership position, full-time income, everything was great. But again, I was the one doing the work. It was, my wife and I, we were doing the work. We didn't really have a lot of leaders that were duplicating. And then we decided to get into this mentorship. Within just weeks of being part of this mentorship, because being part of this mentorship, every day we are thinking about our business. Every day we're like, what can we do to build our business today, to get our business to the next level? What can we do to just every day? I don't want to end the day without having some sort of increase in business, right? Because we were thinking about it like a business. Think about it. If you own a deli or a donut shop or whatever, any type of traditional business, if you don't make a sale that day, if your business is open and you're not making a sale, how do you feel, right? I mean, no, you're like every day you're like, I need to grow my business every single day. And that being part of this group made me think and made us have that attitude towards our business every single day. And because of that, it led us to maybe take some actions that normally we would be easy on ourselves. And I remember one particular action. Uh, we did a post on Facebook, and somebody from Australia responded to that post. And I remember one of the partners, one of my partners, responded to that post and said, "Hey, we this person wants to talk tonight. He's interested." Now tonight, right, for Australia is like early morning for us, like 3 a.m. And normally, right, normally you might want to be easy on yourself and say, "Oh well, can we schedule it for maybe another time that's a little bit a better time for us?" Right? That's what we tend to human nature tend to be a little bit easy on ourselves. But because we're a part of this group, every day we wanted to be able to report something. We wanted to be able to report activity and numbers. So we said, yeah, whatever we have to do. If he wants to talk, sure. I went to bed for a few hours, woke up at like 3 a.m. and got on the phone with this gentleman, explained to him what was going on, and explained the vision. And um, through that gentleman, which some people on this line actually know who he is, it led to an incredible organization. In fact, there's people on this line that came into our lives that are forever our family, like Jody, I see Jody, like Janine and Rick, right? So many that came out through that one conversation. But I'll tell you that was a breakthrough in our business because that conversation led to one part of our organization having the equivalent of about 14 senior officers, around 2 chairpersons, all in that organization, right? And then, right, I'm actually in the home of one of the leaders in Calgary, Canada, right? They were responsible for launching our previous company in Canada. They were the first in Canada, launched it, went to the highest level in Canada at that time. What's interesting, they joined my business in a different organization, in a different line during that same time, that same mentorship accountability time. They joined the business. Do you think that's a coincidence that we were having, you know, more success during this time that we were running our business at a higher level, at a higher standard? Do you think that was coincidence? I don't think it was coincidence, right? Because sometimes it just, and it's sometimes it's unexplainable. But when you operate at a higher level, and sometimes we don't naturally do that, but when you're held to a higher standard, you operate at a higher level. And when you operate at a higher level, sometimes you attract more success at that level, right? People can sense that you're up to something big. People can sense that in your voice that you're doing big things and they want to be a part of it. So that breakthrough from that mentorship accountability led to my wife and my business being just a full-time business where we were making money, we were, building, but we were doing all the work ourselves basically, to having leaders upon leaders upon leaders that created momentum and retention. Why retention? Because some of those leaders joined us in this mentorship and this accountability. They started learning how to truly build their business to that next level. And they led to becoming 6 and 7 figure earners. I'll tell you, if you have people in your team that are 7 figure earners, do you think they're going to stay in your company? Do you think they're going to stay part of your team and stay active? Absolutely, right? So that creates that retention. And that led to us being 7 figure earners with just that company alone. So when I think back at the biggest breakthroughs, the two biggest breakthroughs in our business, both of them stemmed back to a time that we chose to be included in a mentorship program and chose to be held accountable to our dreams and to our goals. So when I think about that, I get excited. I get excited of what is on the table now for every single one of us. And I include myself into this too, because we've over the years, I've held many types of mentorship programs and accountabilities and masterminds. And what I love about it is not only does it empower those that want to participate, but even myself, I find that I get amazing value out of it because I hold myself to that same standard during that time, right? If I'm asking somebody else to do something, then I'll never ask someone else to do something without me doing it myself, right? So if I'm holding people to a higher standard, then I'm holding myself to that same standard. And so I love it too. And I get excited about it too because I'm like, yes, because I know what's going to come from it. I know the results that will come from that type of activity. So here's a promise of this particular millionaire mentorship. Number one is you will start getting help to set attainable goals that stretch you. Notice the two words, attainable, because sometimes we set goals, but sometimes the goals we set are just beyond what is truly, I shouldn't say possible. Anything's possible, right? Anything's possible, but we also want to make sure that sometimes, we might not calculate how to truly achieve that goal or what type of work needs to be put in to achieve that goal. And so sometimes through coaching, we can help you readjust goals that are attainable to you. That's the best way I can say it, right? Because any goal is really attainable, but it's a matter of what work, what effort you want to put in to achieve that goal. We're going to help you in this program, right? Be able to do that, but at the same time, stretch you because we want to raise the bar a little bit for everyone, right? We want to have you leave this and say, you know what, because of this time that I spent with the Zangs and with the Harpers, my business was able to go to the next level. We want you to have the same experience that I had. That when I think back, even years later, decades later, I pinpoint that time and say it was because of that time that everything changed, right? That's what we want for every single one of you. A promise from this is daily accountability with support, right? I love that, accountability is very important, but support, right, is even better. And that's something that you will get as well from this. You'll get feedback, right? Guidance and those, sorry, I put house, supposed to be course correction, right? Guidance and course correction, right? Because sometimes we'll be doing things, and I see this a lot. I see this a lot where people in the team, they're doing activities, they're doing daily things, they're working, they're doing all the things, but maybe it's not yielding all the results they want. And sometimes it's just a small change that needs to happen. Well, those that participate in this program, I'm telling you right now, when you are part of it, you'll see why. It's going to be easier for us to look at those things and identify what needs to be adjusted, just small, to maybe yield better results. And so you're going to get that, which I'll tell you, out of all the years of being in this industry, I've never really seen a better way to have a mentor be able to give you feedback than being involved in something like this. You're going to be part of leadership development, right? You'll know that, and you probably have figured this out when it comes to myself, my wife. We're really big into personal development, leadership development, and personal development. Everyone gets when it comes to our BOC calls, the Breakfast of Champions calls, Monday through Friday. Everyone gets those, right? And we're big advocates of personal development, but leadership development is actually different than personal development. Did you know that? Right? If you know that leadership development is different than personal development, right? Then why is that exciting? Because my mentor told me from day one, he said the people that make the most money, the people that are hitting the highest ranks are leaders, right? And this is our goal. Our goal is we want to help train up the next layer of leadership. We want you to become the ultimate upline, the ultimate upline. And how do you become the ultimate sponsor, the ultimate upline? It's really becoming the best version of yourself and becoming the best leader for your team. So being a part of this will get you on that path, and we will have some leadership development that you will be going through with this mastermind, with this program. And then lastly, right, you're going to get a chance to really hear things straight, raw, what I call locker room discussions, right? Locker room. If anyone has been an athlete or played sports in school, whatever, like during the break, right, during the halftime, they go into the locker room and the coach tells you how it is. The coach tells you direct what you need to do to get back on the field or get back on the court to win the game. No holding back, tells it to you straight. And that's sometimes what we need. But very particularly in this industry, we need your permission, right? Because this is a feel-good industry. We want people to feel good. I mean, at the end of the day, some people, they just want to be a part of an incredible environment, positive, upbeat, encouraging. And do we have that? Absolutely. That's what this is all about. That's what PartnerCo is all about. That's what this organization is all about. But if you truly want to change in your business, if you want change truly, sometimes you need to be told what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, right? And that's what this is going to come in. This is because if you're part of this mastermind, this millionaire mentorship, you are giving us permission, and we'll probably even ask it again just to make sure, but you're giving us permission to tell you what you need to hear to truly help you get to that next level. And by doing that, you give us the ability to tell you straight. and with that to truly help you, probably beyond what we could have helped you before, right? And making changes in your business. So these are some of the promises of this mentorship. What would I do if I were you? If I were you right now, right? If I was starting my business from scratch with PartnerCo, no matter what level I was, no matter where my business was, but I said to myself, I want to go to the next level. Because again, if at the end of the day, if that's not your goal or your desire, that's awesome, right? That's completely fine. We're not saying everyone needs to have the desire to go to the next level, to take their business um, to that next level, right? But we're talking to people that truly do want that, and that was me. And so if I was in your shoes today and I said, I want my business to go to the next level, I see that there's an opportunity to be part of this type of mastermind, this type of mentorship program, knowing what I know from my past experience. I would say, okay, today's Tuesday. I have 4 days, include counting today, to qualify. I would do everything in my power. And when I say everything in my power, it would be done. It would be done. Like I even if it's not done today on Tuesday, it's going to be done before the week ends Friday. It's going to be done. Like there's no options. There's no, plan B because I know what it could do from my past experience. I know what it's going to change in me and help me to get my business to that next level. So if I was in your shoes, I would do everything in my power to qualify. Everything. And one of the things that might mean is reaching out to one of your senior partners today for guidance and for help, right? Because sometimes you'll say, okay, I want to do it. I want to qualify. But sometimes, right, people are nervous to reach out and identify and say, hey, what suggestions do you have for me in my business specifically that I need to do to get this done before Friday? Or what can we set up so that I can have this done before Friday? Can we set up maybe a drop talk, right? Can we set up a time where we can maybe do like a power hour where we can spend an hour together online and you can help me reach out to people and kind of coach me and guide me, right? Whatever it takes, right? You have people in the organization here that want your success as much as you want your success. So reach out, let them know. At the very least, let them know that this is your plan, this is your goal, and maybe they can provide you some guidance, some help, and some assistance. The second thing I would do is I would use events and promotions this week to help close this out, the qualifications, right? Because remember, part of the qualifications is new volume. The other two part of the qualifications are something that you can you can personally do all of it. One is just having your ticket to the next big event. If it's for North America, that would be the PXP, right? So that's something you can do today, if not already done. Becoming ultimate, right? Many of you are already ultimates, but if you're not becoming ultimate and having the volume that you need is almost one and the same, right? It can actually happen almost together, right? Closely, right? You might have to get a little bit more volume to become ultimate, but it's something that you can definitely do, right? And so use the events and the promotions that are happening this week. Now, events, for example, there's a big event here in Calgary, Canada. Even if you don't live in Calgary, Canada, right? Here's what I'll tell you. You have me here. You have James Zhang here. You can build in Calgary. You could build in Canada because we're here. And we'll be happy to help you do that, right? So you can use that. And I'll tell you, there's going to be some things announced in Calgary, Canada, that, in fact, there's going to be a presentation Thursday. And I will just let you all know, right? And this is just, if you know anyone in Canada, especially Alberta, if you have a guest show up Thursday at that event, I can guarantee you, based on what I know they're going to announce and what they're going to be sharing, I can guarantee you that guest is going to sign up in your team. Isn't that crazy, right? To have that type of guarantee. Now, and of course, again, unless of course this person is just going there just to try to be a negatron, right? You do have those type of people. They just, they actually take time out of their day to go somewhere just to be negative about it. I don't get that. But if the person's really open-minded, right? They're open-minded, they're coming there curious to know more. I would even encourage you to probably connect them with myself or Mr. James Zhang before Thursday, so we could talk to them too, right? That would be great. But use that's an example of using the event and promotion, right? You're going to be hearing, in fact, there's something special happening tomorrow. You're going to be hearing about some promotions that may or may not be being released. I think I could say it, probably being released right away before the end of this qualification time, right? So you could use some of these promotions to help you close this out. And the last thing I would do if I were you, because when it comes to something like this that you want to qualify for, every day counts, every moment counts. There's 4 days, including today. What I would do is I would look at my calendar for the next 4 days and I would look at every prospect facing event that is happening. Every prospect facing event. What's a prospect facing event? Is an event, right? Either in person or online that you can invite a guest to. Our BOC calls, did you know those are prospect facing events? You can invite guests onto our BOC calls, right? Drop talks, online or in person, right? If there's not one scheduled already, guess what? You can actually schedule one. Reach out to who you're working with, your senior partner, say, hey, I want to do one Thursday, a drop talk, online, whatever the case, right? Any type of prospect facing event, I would make it my mission not to let that event pass without inviting somebody to it, right? And who do you invite? Well, this is the day-to-day activity, right? This is a day-to-day post that we're doing. This is the leads that are coming in. People liking our posts. People are commenting on our posts. We are following up using the boards app. We're doing all these things so that we are now creating conversations, creating interest, and through that, we have leads to invite people to learn more. And I would invite them to any prospect-facing event if they haven't made a decision yet after seeing the information, right? So that they can get a better idea of our culture, get a better idea of the environment, the products, and the opportunity, right? So that's what I would do if I was you. And again, as mentioned, there's something very special happening tomorrow. I have to, before wrapping this up, I have to mention this, right? Tomorrow, there is a very, very special call that you do not want to miss, and you do not want anyone on your team to miss this. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, there's going to be a massive corporate announcement where you're going to hear firsthand about the biggest summer deals. You're going to learn about something that's called, it's a limited edition promotion that I put there once ever. What does that mean, once ever? It's never been done before, and they're not planning to do it again. It's a once ever limited edition promotion that's only occurring during this time, and it is cool. It is so cool, and you're going to hear about it tomorrow. And you're also going to learn momentum strategies, right, to build your business with what you're going to hear tomorrow. So tomorrow, this is going to be a huge announcement. Don't miss it. Make sure you are there, and the details will be circulating in our chat so that you can have the details for that. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you in the chats, please let me know how many of you are going to push to qualify to be part of our Millionaire Mentorship program. Put a me in the chat or raise your hand if you are going to push to do that. I want to see who you are, because I'm looking so forward to working with you all. I really am. Because I know what this can do. I know how this environment that we're going to have can literally change the trajectory of your business and can change your life and all those that are around you, impact the lives of so many that are associated with you. And that's why I got involved in this business, right? I got involved in this business to impact lives. And so I'm excited. I'm so excited. So love seeing all the responses and the me's in the chat. So that's what I had for you today. I hope it was beneficial. I hope it gave you something to focus on over the next 4 days. We have 4 days. You can do it. I know you can. Of course, if you need assistance, you need ideas, you need help, reach out to us. We're here to help you every step of the way. So with that said, thank you for being with us. You can come off mute. Everyone can say goodbye for the day, and we'll talk again on our next event.
Thank
care,
you,
everyone.
Dana. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Dana.
I'm going to work
Thank
for it.
you.
Amazing.
Thank you,
Dana.
Dana.
Dana,
Yo,
thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
else just
Super.
Thank you, Mr.
helpful.
Harper. Thank you very much.
Thank
We
Let's
will.
all do this,
Thank
millionaires.
you.
I
We
want to
Thank
be
you,
a
Mr.
millionaire.
Harper.
Good
Appreciate it.
night, everybody.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
Good night, Mrs.
you.
Harper.
Good
Good night,
night.
everybody. Good night.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, everyone.
Night, Jaden's godfather.
Good
Night, Mr. Louis.